It's November and it's the time for picking Japanese persimmons in the Bay Area. Behind me over here I have one of the Fuyu Japanese persimmon, non-astringent crunchy type. This is the preferred persimmon, at least on the west coast out here. We like these. They can be eaten when they're still crunchy like an apple rather than squishy like a glob of egg yolk. These are useful in more recipes than the soft persimmons too. There are numerous different varieties of Japanese persimmons, but the two most common that we usually see are either Fuyu, called the crunchy or non-astringent, and Hachiya, which is a larger heart-shaped fruit. Older cultivation, older orchards usually held those. Those have to be mushy before you can eat them. Otherwise, they kind of turn your head inside out from the astringency. The Fuyu is good when it's crunchy, and it's also good when it's mushy, just like the Hachiya. So those of you who thought that the Hachiya was the only one you can use to make persimmon cookies, wrong. This one does the same thing as long as you let it turn soft. So it is the preferred persimmon. You can chop this baby up into fruit salads. It works really well with pears and apples and walnuts and Greek yogurt and stuff like that. It's also useful for making salsas. I like to use these persimmons to make salsas with a little bit of lime juice to balance the sugar. They're real good. Mixed with jalapenos and onions and cilantro, salt, lime juice, and chopped up Fuyu persimmons. So, again, as I have said in the past, if you are working too hard in the garden, you're probably doing it wrong. And so when I pick my persimmons here, I also prune the persimmon tree simultaneously. So what we do is we look up into the tree and we cut down the wood that contains the persimmons, hopefully taking away most of the really high vertical wood and conserving more of the lower horizontal wood for fruiting every year. Simple process. One shot takes care of it all. The persimmon doesn't get insects, really. It's very limited amount of pests that get on these. Sometimes a little mealy bugs underneath the crown here, but it really doesn't bother the fruit too much. Otherwise, I think birds and maybe a few animals are about the only things that'll get into a persimmon tree. It's pretty much trouble-free. It doesn't require a lot of irrigation. It doesn't require a lot of fertilizer. It's really best if you leave a nice deep mulch on the ground underneath the tree. They're really like living as if they were in a forest somewhere in Japan. The Japanese persimmons resist being taken down by hand. If you try to pull one from the tree, most likely what will happen is you'll break the limb that it's on. And so at the very least, a picking tool for this job would be a regular hand pruning shear like this guy here. The ones that are right within your reach, you can get them with that. Stuff that's a little bit bigger and maybe a little higher up the tree, a lopper like this one here works well. And then for stuff that's really far up the tree, this guy right here is an orchard lopper, double-handled, long-neck tool, and this one will reach way high up inside the tree to cut down the higher limbs. So 3 different size cutting tools, maybe a small handsaw in some cases, and then some sort of a container to hold the persimmons, and a ladder and a helper are all we need. I usually pick persimmons with 2 people. One person up in the tree cutting them down and handing them, one person down on the ground taking the persimmons off and putting them in the bucket. I have my helper. We're in the tree. Ellen is cutting down persimmons. The lopper up there, and she's shearing them, handing them down here to my hand. This is easier with 2 people, like I said. And so here we are, we're faced with a dilemma. We have 20 pounds of persimmons on one branch. And so Ellen's going to go for the gold. We're going for it. There they are. Persimmons everywhere. Cut. So there we have it for pruning persimmons and picking at the same time. We've taken down some pretty serious pieces of wood here. As you can see, took this all out of the tree while searching for the persimmons. Reached for the high ones, reached for the ones that were sticking out over the fence line into the neighbor's yard, and then we ended up with a great big old bucket over here full of delicious Japanese persimmons. That's about all there is to picking persimmons. Those of you who are lucky enough to be able to have one of these delicious trees in your backyard, they're just outstanding, aren't they, Alan?
Yeah, they're really good.
Oh,
nice
man.
and sweet.
Nothing like Japanese persimmons, I tell you. That's delicious.
Crunchy.
Yeah, not mushy. They get mushy if you want them mushy, if you wait long enough.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Not
if you're
that
lucky
long.
enough, it takes a while to grow one of these. You'd probably be waiting almost 6 years before you get any decent fruit. This one now is probably 16 years old. They swing from year to year. One year it's heavy, one year it's light. They're kind of biennial bearing, but they always seem to have a crop more than we can eat. We'll end up selling a few off to our friends here, I think, before this is over. But absolutely delicious. November is the time to get them down. When the color turns orange, they're ready to go. With fuyus, as long as it's orange, it's ready. So
That's
take
good.
it down. Yeah, it's absolutely delicious. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.